Welcome to Know Your Data, a podcast by the Irish Data Protection Commission. My name is Aoife, and this is episode 10, Elections and Data Protection. On Saturday 8th of February, Ireland will vote in a general election. Canvassing is well underway, with campaigners knocking on doors and leaflets already dropping into the letterbox. It's important that candidates are able to communicate with voters in the run-up to an election. But what does this mean for data protection? In this episode, I'm going to run through your data protection rights as a voter. As is the case when any organisation uses your personal data, if your personal data is used in the context of campaigning or other electoral activities, data protection laws provide you with a number of rights. One of the most important is the right to be given clear and transparent information about the collection and use of your personal data, including the identity of the person it is being collected for, why it is being collected, how it will be used, who it will be shared with, and how long it will be kept for. Other rights include the right to access a copy of any of your personal data which is being used, the right to correct that data if it is incorrect, or the right to have that data erased under certain circumstances. So, for example, if it is no longer needed for the reason it was collected for. You also have a right to lodge a complaint with us here in the DPC if you feel an individual or an organisation is in breach of their data protection obligations. When you get election leaflets addressed to you, you may wonder where they got your details from. The electoral acts allow information which is on the electoral register, such as your name, your address and your polling station, to be used for electoral purposes. This means that politicians, political parties and candidates can use this information to communicate with voters, for example by posting out election leaflets addressed to you. Under the GDPR, individuals have a right to object to direct marketing. However, if it is direct marketing for electoral purposes, this right does not apply, and so individuals can't object to postal electoral direct marketing. Another thing to be aware of is following an election, and under certain conditions and within a certain time frame, the electoral acts allow any person to access the marked version of the electoral register, which shows whether someone has voted in that election. What about emails, texts and phone calls? As is the general rule with electronic direct marketing, you should only receive texts, emails and phone calls from canvassers if you have consented to such communication. You should also be informed of the identity of the sender, and you should be given the option to opt out of future communication if you wish. You can find out more about electronic direct marketing on our website, www.dataprotection.ie. What about your data protection rights when you're being canvassed? You may decide to give personal information to door-to-door canvassers, but this is up to you. And if you do, well then canvassers, politicians, political parties and candidates must put appropriate safeguards in place to accurately record and protect any personal data collected from you, including your political opinions. You should also be provided with clear information about what your data protection rights are, how and why your data will be used, who it will be shared with, and how long it will be kept for. During an election campaign, you're likely to encounter online political advertising, either through candidate or party websites or through other online services such as social media. If your personal data is being used to target these ads at you, then whoever is responsible for those ads should be transparent about how your data is being used and who they are sharing your personal data with. Some online platforms also provide tools to allow you to see how and why you're receiving certain ads, and in the case of political ads, how they are being funded. It's important to note that data protection rights are not absolute and must be balanced against the public interest. In certain circumstances, they may be restricted, such as where it is necessary to facilitate the functioning of the electoral system. There are certain restrictions on an individual's right to object to the processing of personal data, where it is done as part of electoral activities. However, these restrictions on the right to object do not affect the other rights of individuals or the obligations of campaigners. You can find more information on our website, www.dataprotection.ie, and there you'll find more detailed guidance for both individuals and canvassers. If you're not sure about any of the terms we've used in this podcast, you can find a list of definitions of key data protection terms there as well. This has been Know Your Data, the Irish Data Protection Commission podcast. Don't forget, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at DPC Ireland, and we're also on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening.